what it feels like, what it truly individuating feels like being alone.
Yeah.
It feels like,
yes.
and I kind of have always felt like I'm alone anyway, which is like the trap, like really attaching. I'm alone fucking anyway, but at least like they don't think I'm alone.
Everybody was born into the wrong family. Okay. And so, and
Jesus.
Right. Jesus. Come on, man.
Everybody's, well, to honor yourself, you've got to find your soul family. Right. So
the big hormone enneagram.
Hi, I'm John Lukovich, sexual self-pres, 4-5 wing, 458 trifix.
Hi, I'm David Gray, self-pres sexual 9-1, 974 trifix.
What up, it's Emeka. I'm an 8-7, sexual self-pres with 854 fixes.
Hi, I'm Nancy. I am a self-pres social 3, wing 4, with a 369 trifix. If you like our podcast, guys, make sure you go like and subscribe on the Apple Podcast app. And if you really like us, you should definitely leave us a review. Better
David,
things to do.
You said something about, I think it was the first one, that basically this experience is sort of providing individuation to attachment types, because to actually respond to your specific attraction to someone is a form of individuation. To actually put your heart on the line to say, I want this person, and it might fall apart and I might get burned.
Right.
That is individuation. Yeah. And that's what attachment types are avoiding in their romantic relationships. Is to stick with the thing that they know that they can get, that they're not affected by or they don't really care about, because it might just be comfortable and stable, versus that's the thing that I want, and if I actually go for it, I might fucking be ripped apart.
Yeah, my mom often gets very confused by me because she's like, oh, I think you'll do great on like this test or this upcoming thing, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna fail at it. And she's like, why aren't you more positive? Like, why don't you try to manifest positivity? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, because if I expect positive and don't get it, I will die.
Yeah.
I will just be ripped apart, and I don't want to feel that emotion. So I'm going to expect the worst, and no one can ever hurt me.
Yeah, I feel that.
and taking a test is conforming to an outside set of guidance, which is another
horrifying.
And it's another parent.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That's a parent structure you're bringing into that.
Yeah. And if I pretend I don't care about it, then I can not get hurt.
Yeah.
I will say also, I feel like it's important to say that like this does go beyond instinct. Nancy is self-pres. I'm a social dominant. Emeka, your partner, is an attachment type who is a sexual dominant. And we have all been experiencing the same thing. Exactly.
Yeah.
We've all been doing the thing of like, oh, we're just trying to get that, we're just trying to like we're just trying to go home. And so the idea of like beyond, through all the instincts, through beyond whatever the word is, the idea of leaving home is, that's the thing that like takes your breath away.
So I want to get it in at the risk of being self-indulgent.
Well, you're always self-indulgent.
I'm always self-indulgent, and this is my podcast, so fuck everyone else.
How to have the audacity of a white man.
Look at this man with no attachment type.
No attachment.
Watch him go.
I'm interested, so like, and I think both y'all can speak to this, Nancy and Alexandra, but like, so, I know that our relationship has been transforming a lot for both of us. And so like what is different that has like, what has made it a place where individuation, is a thing? Like, why has it called different parts of you to be involved? And like, I'm thinking if somebody is an attachment type or not, and just looking at attachment structures in themselves and listening to this and listening to trying to track their own process of intimacy and their own individuation, like where would they have to look to get outside of the prison of their own type structure?
Okay, this is a great question. Okay, so I don't know if this is the answer you're looking for, but I think specifically for attachment types, and Nancy, jump in, and David, you being an attachment type too, you quiet little 9, jump in, you too. I would say the thing to follow actually is. I would say the thing to follow, the thing that is indicative that you're actually doing something right, is your fear.
Yes, 100%.
Like, like I have been in, relationships before. I've had new job opportunities, had new this and that. Like, nothing fucking scared me. I am scared of everything. Nothing scared me. This fucking terrifies me.
Yes. I, as a 3, feel like I can do anything that I put my mind to whenever I fucking want.
Yeah. Same. I mean, even as a 9, like,
yeah,
I feel like it is like the ability, the sort of like unspoken magic power of the attachment types to just adapt and fucking make it work.
Yep.
We can make anything work.
I am like a cat with 9 lives. I land on my feet every fucking time.
Yeah. Yeah. So when we're working with something that we cannot manipulate to conform to, give us those gold star, whatever it is that we're talking about, it feels like again, just feels like being blind. It feels like falling into a black hole, and it feels like, oh, this has nothing to do with any approval and has everything to do with me. And woof,
yeah,
that's something.
Yeah, and I like, even as we sit here talking about this, like I have like tremors going through my body because I get so like worked up and nervous and anxious and fearful of it because it's just such a big emotion. And like that's it.
Yeah, because it feels, and maybe I'm speaking to my own. So again, like speak to your own experience here too, but like what it feels like, what it truly individuating feels like being alone.
Yeah.
It feels like,
yes.
And I kind of have always felt like I'm alone anyway, which is like the trap, like really attaching. I'm alone fucking anyway, but at least like they don't think I'm alone.
Right.
I don't know how that makes sense, but there's something there of like, I'm alone, but at least it's like not at my hand.
Yeah. And I had to force myself to be alone at my own hand for a while, and not like to get to a place where I was like, okay, I am at least somewhat okay with the idea of individuating, because like when I went on my solo trip across the country, like all I did was cry. Like all the beautiful photos, all I did was fucking cry. Every single day I would just have a sob fest because I was alone and I had to be alone.
What was it about being alone that made you cry?
It was
or
so
you like, why were
quiet.
you crying?
It was so quiet. And it was just like there was no buffer. And like it did feel like I was looking for home all the time. And like I was able to see so I feel a strong connection to like land. Like I love mountains and land and all that kind of stuff, my SP self. So when I would find beautiful places, it was like I was able to feel emotions and there was no buffer and there was no stopping it, and it was constantly strong because everything out there is so beautiful. So it's just like wave after wave after wave of these emotions that I had never experienced, and that all the shit was just stuffed down into me and stuck.
Would other people be a buffer, or what would a buffer be?
Just other people, activities, goals, work, and it just routine. Routine's a big buffer because you can go to sleep in it, and there's no routine when you're driving in a car across country that you've never seen. Like there's there's no routine.
Yeah.
So
damn, that's good.
Yeah, it was just constant. So for attachment types, I would highly recommend forcing yourself to be alone if you feel safe.
Yeah, and that thing you said about like looking for mom and dad is really powerful too, because like that is like where the loneliness comes from. It's like there is no more mom and dad, it's just you now.
Yeah. And
it's just you alone. And like, that is ultimately how you're going to find your individuation and how you're going to find your fulfillment too. But it is at the cost of letting go of mom and dad.
Yeah. And it's the mourning. You have to, I feel like I still am mourning the loss of like what I thought was home, and the loss of like never being able to experience that again. Is like, oh, God, like, yeah, it's that one's rough.
Yeah, that is so true too, because like when you have individuated, then you come back to what you thought was it once, and it's not it anymore.
It's not it. Yeah. And like the relationships I have with my parents is completely different now because I've individuated, and it's like, so I have to mourn the loss of that relationship too.
Man, I was not expecting to feel this much.
Right? I was like, oh, this will be a nice, easy podcast. It's fine.
No. Yeah, what this is making me realize is some of the, what I talked about in the first one was that just really starting to understand some of the quote unquote weird reactions that I had in my dating life. Not understanding like what kind of these anxiety attacks that people were having is because when you're attracted to someone in a real way and you're responding to that, there is a real strong risk. And that's not something that I just thought that's how people operated. I didn't know that people were just kind of falling into things with people that they barely were into, or they were just kind of like adapting to. And so whenever I felt real attraction with someone, and I could feel that they felt real attraction for me, and then they would bail from that, I just couldn't understand what the hell was going on, because part of my thing as a social blind is, I'm not necessarily doing the I relate to you thing. For me, sexual attraction is based on sort of like, I'm not like you at all, but we have a thing. So there's no safety net here in terms of you're like me and we have this, background of shared experiences or anything. It's just like straight animal magnetism, whatever. And that's what it is for me. But, and maybe there is that thing there, but for an attachment type to respond to that, to take action on that, to really fall into that is a huge risk.
Is a huge risk. Yeah.
Like what if it doesn't work? Because you're really putting yourself out there. And I did, as an A, there's the A thing is I'm just gonna put my nuts on the line here and fucking burn me alive. But I realized that I could do that, but I wasn't really putting my heart out there. But that it was such a huge sort of ripping yourself apart experience for an attachment type, and that's sort of these reactions that I was getting. And so I mean, at some point this will happen, my partner's going to be on the pod to talk about this, but to watch her sort of stay in that experience while she was experiencing this sort of internal struggle, and say, I want this, is one of the most courageous things I've ever seen. Understanding, now understanding like what is underneath all that for an attachment type. And to the audience of people who might be, I don't know, undecided or feeling anxious about what we're talking about, like none of this shit is easy. Even for us who aren't attachment types, it still is fucking scary to put your heart on the line for something and for someone that you really want. And it's really fucking easy to settle into a relationship that you don't really care about. And if you want to experience soul sex, like you're gonna get burnt, because I got burnt. Once I started like really putting my heart on the line, I had an experience with an attachment type who just couldn't handle it, and it was like peak chemistry type experience, and she just fucking bailed, and it fucking ripped me apart. But I just had made the decision. It sort of gave that scar, kind of made me fearless, because I knew that I could put my heart on the line, and that I was willing to. Well, it hurt really bad, but I just felt like the experience of almost getting there was worth it.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
that's really beautiful.
Yeah, that is super sweet.
One thing, going back to like attachment types and family and all of that stuff is, I think, well, in my old age, what I've come to is that basically everybody was born into the wrong family. Okay. And so, and
Jesus.
the,
Right?
and,
Come on,
and
man.
everybody's, well, to honor yourself, you've got to find your soul family. Right. So and I mean, so that's, you know, we've been talking about attachment, but that's kind of like the social instinct piece of this whole message is individuating, finding what you actually want, what you need at a soul level, and finding that in other people, and those people becoming your real family.
Yeah, we got some soul family up in this bitch.
Yeah, we do.
That's right.
For real.
Big time.
I want to say one thing. I mean, being really fucking sappy over here, but
I love it.
I love when you're sappy. I love when you're sappy. Who's got a line of two here? All right, do it.
No, I just, you know, it's not a Molly night, but whatever. But, you know, just being able to zoom out and, you know, this whole experience, and not just this group, but finding someone that I love through all of our connection, our soul family connection, has really gave me a mirror, and being able to see myself and to see us as a whole, and just to see how everything sort of led up to these experiences. And I recognize that, even I don't know if I've said this, maybe I didn't put this on the pod, but I want to say it again. But like, there was a point where I was on the fence about, you know, the possibility of love even being a thing, and meeting someone like John, who is like super in, not just because he's a heart type, but he is someone who really believes in love. You know, and it's not necessarily anything he said, it's just who he is. That was like, oh, you know, I shouldn't give up on this, you know, like, you know, this is someone that I can really see myself in to some degree and respect, and he still really believes in love, and, you know, maybe I can. And that was 5 years before anything really happened for me, so it's been a process. I'm saying that to say that this has been like a gradual process of me, like, really opening my heart to the possibility. But it took finding a soul family, and took meeting, you know, these encounters that, you know, gave me messages that said, hey, you can really believe in real love. And I think there are a lot of people out there who've shut down their hearts, and they've, you know, we experienced the heartbreak of, you know, getting out there in the world, and realizing that the love that we thought could exist may not be out there. But sometimes it just takes someone to remind you that it is possible, and that you shouldn't shut your heart down, and it could happen for you.
And I feel similarly, and to be like, you know, I've brought it up before, but to also be totally weird and cheesy is like, I totally feel like my dog is part of my soul family. And when he came into my life, I was like, oh, this is what love is. And then Brian came into my life like weeks after, like just a couple weeks after that, and I was like, got it, check.
Damn.
So thank you, Emeka. You know, I've had my shit around my specificity into a corner, and shame around it. And so when you remind me of that, like, it really means a lot to me. And but I wanted to ask Nancy and Alexandra. I mean, I have a sense with Alexandra, but I think articulating it for the pod would be useful. But well, let's see. God damn it! You fucking opened my heart, so now I'm all fucked up. Because
another line to two here, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I guess one of the things that's been in the background of this conversation that I need to get out because of my fucking line of two or whatever is so, you know, there's a lot of talk here about non-specificity and all this other kind of shit that attachment types suffer from. And one of the things, my experience with Alexandra, is that she is such a specific person, and like, she's so fucking like, I mean, the first things I was attracted to was her sense of humor, but also, like, she has a very, it's not precise is not the right word, but there's like a very cutting way she observes things and illuminates things and understands things. And like, just Alexandra is such a fucking specific person. And I think it's important for anybody listening that might be an attachment type or struggling with whatever. Like, I see Alexandra so specifically, but her struggle is that she doesn't see herself that specifically.
Yes.
And I think Emeka, I think you can relate with your partner.
Yes.
And sometimes I want to strangle you, baby, because of
likewise.
It's like how could you have not always seen what a fucking jewel you are, you know? And I think I even said in a couple episodes ago, like, you were telling me a story about your recording music, transcribing music on the beach by yourself in high school or something, and how you had to kind of hide it because people would think you're a fucking freak. And I was like, that's the fucking coolest shit ever. Like all your freak stuff, the more freak I discover, the more I'm totally, besotted by it. So anyway, yeah, just to say that. But you were talking earlier about like individuation, and I kind of feel funny about it because I know a lot of our relationship has been a factor in your individuation. But you said something about like making a choice that like you're involved in the choice rather than the like interjected, attachment voices that you've sort of absorbed or whatever. Like what was it that allowed more of you to be involved in the choice, whether it was to be with me or to individuate or whatever that might have been that has shifted things for you internally?
Okay, ask me that again so I hear that clearly.
So we are talking about some kind of transformation and change and individuation. And what was it like that allowed more of you, more of Alexandra, to be here and to be in the choice and to be in the process of individuation than something prior?
I mean, a huge part of it is because I am deeply affected. A huge part of this was like I felt, and maybe I'm wrong about this or whatever, but like I knew what I was feeling before you gave me any indication of what you were feeling. So it started in my like perspective and in my opinion, like it started with me having a solid land on where I was. And being able to, like I wasn't just responding to you, I was already there. Like this is not the story of someone that was into me and I was like, oh cool, let's see what he sees. This was a story of me like being in it already and then having to really jump in. And like let's see, Amika, something that your partner and I have talked about is this real sense of being affected. You mentioned this already, that she had the experience of anytime her body responded, she would just push it away. I have that same experience, that anytime it was more my like heart or like my mind was like responsive, I would just, that's disruptive and distracting. I gotta fucking focus here on my complete lack of like self-involvement. A huge part of this story for me is like my body responding, my heart responding, my mind responding in a way that my attachment shit couldn't like negate.
Yep.
In a way that my attachment type like shit couldn't like, let's see, how do I say this? Couldn't like make a rational choice for me. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm answering that correctly.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I have a very similar answer to that question too. Except my body kind of forced me into individuating because I got really sick for no reason. Like the doctors have never been able to find out what it was. But I had like chronic tonsillitis.
Oh my gosh.
And it was awful. And they were like, oh, well, you don't need your tonsils taken out. You're fine. And, don't get me started on sexism in the doctor's industry, but whatever. So I had chronic tonsillitis. I had debilitating stomach issues. I had to quit my job and move back home because I couldn't take care of myself. And once I spoke my trauma to someone, my tonsillitis went away immediately.
Wow.
Like within a day, it was gone, and I've never had it since. And which is like weird. And then once yeah, exactly. Yeah. And once I started fighting to find me, my body started healing. And so I was forced, and anytime I slipped back into it, I would get sick again.
Wow.
So it was weird. It was very weird. So I was forced by my body to find me. And that started 2-3 years before I met Brian. So it was really at the end of it, even though I didn't feel like it was anything. It just sort of felt like life to me. But yeah. So by the time I found Brian, I had done a lot of fighting with myself. And I still feel like I've gotten nowhere, but I know I have. But
I understand.
Yeah. But I mean, Brian never showed an interest in me at all, not even on our first date. And then, but I mean, I kept at it, and here we are.
Yeah. Well, Brian's 9, right? He's his own attachment type.
Exactly. I had to. The way I got his attention is I stole his wallet and I shoved it in my bra. And I was like, you need to give me your number.
I love that.
And he was like,
that's some individuation.
Because I was like, you're gonna fucking pay attention to me.
Yeah, individuate into this shirt, Brian.
And I had the rare experience that my current partner was probably the first time in my life where someone kissed me first. which is we'll eventually tell the story, but
that's cute
was
as
like
fuck.
It's
because I was like I had to take a second to process what just happened, because I'm the assertive one, right? And I'm always expected to make the first move, and I almost always do. And that was the first time that happened. I was like such a wow. And of course, the rest is history, but she individuated.
I was gonna say that. That had to be fucking huge for her.
She said it was the scariest 2-3 seconds of her life.
Yeah.
I was just sitting there like staring at her, like processing what had just happened.
And she's like, oh my God.
And then she said, I'm sorry. And I said, don't apologize. And then that the rest is history. But
God,
yeah, she was echoing some of the same stuff that you guys were saying. Like it's comfortable for me. I can say that I'm experiencing body reactions to someone. I'm attracted to someone, but I realize how much of a foreign thing it is for attachment types to make that leap to say, I want this person and I'm going to make a move. So to realize how much of a courageous thing it was for her to make the first move, like understanding the attachment type struggle it's pretty fucking incredible, courageous to do that.
Yeah, we did a lot of shit for you guys, all right?
Yeah. So give us those goddamn gold stars.
And your dick. Thank you.
So, Alexandra and I didn't happen like that, but, as a sexual type, I'm pretty clued into like generally my preferences and generally like way my body reacts. But even then, I'm learning without the social instinct involved has been itself skewed in its own way. Because as an aside, like, when object relations co-ops your sexual instinct, you become attracted to things that recapitulate the negative dynamics you had early in life. So when object relations co-opt sexual instinct, you come to somebody that's new and exciting and whatever, thinking this is brand new, when it's actually in disguise the same old shit that's like in the dumpster of your psyche. It's already been there the whole time. It's just in a new disguise, and that's like for sexual types especially, that's like a real danger. I guess any sexual instinct in your stacking, you can think you're coming upon something brand new when it's the same old shit. And that's the danger of not, like, when you're not integrating all your three instincts and you're not present in your body. That's what happens. So anyway, with Alexandra, like, very quickly, she was very I always say that Alexandra like helped me uncover my heart again. And like you were very forward and bold about basically like you're not just loving me, but you're like, how do I put it, like your willingness to love me whether I was, you're gonna get a little, hang on, whether it was like doing the like attraction dance or not, or like whether I was like impressing you or not, you know, like
right.
You and I remember like I just like I think one time I was we were like kind of being flirty, and I was at a bar, and I sent a message of a picture of just my face, and I looked at it and I realized how fucking ugly I looked. And I had all this image type, sexual type shame come up of like, I just fucking ruined this. Like, I look so ugly. Like, she's gonna lose all attraction to me. Like, I just ruined everything just like that. And I guess I didn't, but
that is yet to be seen, apparently.
No, you did not.
But that experience, like, I was walking home and like talking on the phone with her and like bawling. Like, I felt completely exposed and naked, and like all the mechanisms that I've learned to kind of like hold a woman's attention and interest and attraction and image type shit and sexual type shit, like I couldn't do. And I mean, that was like, I don't know, I never had that experience before. But it was Alexandra being you know, I guess individuated, or putting herself out there. It's like, fuck, I have nowhere to hide.
And I guess the thing about individuating and really responding to someone on a deep body and soul level is that the thing that you're into about this person isn't what they're manufacturing. It's not what they're giving you. It's not the check boxes. And so what often happens with people get into relationships is like, you know, like looking at what looks good on paper, what other people might recognize, versus what deep connection you have to this person. And what's been really, you know, really challenging for me also as a sexual type is how much my partner is showing me through what I'm seeing through her eyes, that she's attracted to. Like I can't, what I'm doing isn't, it's not what I'm manufacturing. It's not what the dance that I'm doing as a sexual type is like who I really am on a core level is what she wants. And I can't, it's not something that I'm going to sit here as an aid and manipulator. If I do this, then she's going to want me more. And it's so humbling to be seen and wanted in that way.
So, some of this is social instinct, you know, it's seeing the person where they're really at as a whole, as opposed to a sexual ornament, something.
Yeah.
Heaven forbid.
And how much I like see myself as purely sexual ornament, and so then somebody sees something else and I was like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
What am I?
Yeah.
I can speak to the opposite of that, of like, you know, me being sexual blind, like, you know, having lived believing that my ability to keep and maintain a relationship comes from like having a specific set of values, having like a checklist to kind of like watch and maintain, like, you know what I mean? Knowing how to like pay attention to somebody and knowing how to like nurture them and like make them feel good and, you know, whatever else. So the idea that like a big part of our relationship, my relationship with John has nothing to do with that. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of making me realize that like, oh, anybody can have this like checklist to follow. So John's not into me because I like know how to be a partner. He's into me for me, and that is very fucking confusing for me. You know, like it is like he's like magnetically into me for not my ability. How do I say it? Like it has nothing to do with my ability to be a good partner. And like I don't even know how to finish the sentence. Like
or to conform into expectations that are more
exactly.
collective.
Yeah.
And when you mess up there's no question of whether or not they're going to leave.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a different kind of risk. It's good. It's like, wow, it's not anything that I'm doing. It's just me.
Right. And then if you get rejected, you're straight up, you are getting rejected.
Yes.
Which fucking blows.
Well, I mean, my experience with you, Alexandra, is like I'm angry and outraged because it seems like you don't have a lot of experience of somebody like just straight up wanting you. And so like when I respond to you in particular ways, or I'm hooked by you in particular ways, whether it's you know and then on different levels, it's like, I mean, you're more comfortable with me now, but like especially at the beginning, it was sort of a relationship. It was sort of like there was a kind of like, what are you like? You didn't quite know where to place it. And
yeah, totally. I had no idea what you were doing with me.
And it fucking like rips my soul apart because it's like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know how. I don't like. Anybody that you're with was a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? Anybody you were with is a fucking idiot because they didn't like. How could they miss you?
Right.
Well, not to be that person, but I could say exactly the same about you.
Yeah.
You know, obviously different lens, different instinct, but how did you go this far and not have people see you? Again, different instinct, but not have people see you and value you and honor you in the way that they should have been fucking doing the whole time.
You had to go there, Alexandra.
I'm a 9. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I've had a similar thing, you know, with my partner too. Just looking at her with rose-colored glasses, like she's, you know, she is amazing, and her kind of saying, I don't know what you see in me, but I'm here for as long as it lasts. And I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. Like, I'm here for you. It's just like, wow, like this experience of someone being here for you, besides like what you're doing to manufacture interest and attraction, is challenging, not just for attachment types, but for everyone. Because we all think through our own lens that I'm being wanted for what I'm generating for this person, you know, depending on the lens of your instinct or whatever. But for someone to actually see you and want you for you is humbling and incredibly fucking scary.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, terrifying.
But anyway, I think we have.
That's enough emotions for one night.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this should be a good.
I do want to
be a good wrap up for the series.
I do want to kind of circle back to David, because I feel like, David, you kind of started the attachment conversation and you've been, you know, hiding in your cave over there.
I thought I've been saying a whole lot. I thought I've
I mean, you have. I just like don't know if we've given you the floor properly.
Well, ask me a question.
Oh, I don't have a question.
Because I'm not individuated, so you have to ask me a question.
He has to form into what we want him to be.
Well, yeah. I mean, what are you asking?
I guess just like, how are you relating to all the attachment stuff? I know that Nancy and I are, you know, we are different than you in the sense that we are sexual blind and we're triple attachment. So it is more potent with us, maybe. So like, I don't know. Yeah. How are you like bouncing off of that?
I think it's the cynicism, the particular kind of cynicism of social last, that has me. I mentioned it, I think, on one of the previous podcasts. There's a pretty profound cynicism about myself.
Right.
And so, how am I relating?
Well, I can
go ahead.
Speak for David here. Because because I felt like I didn't really get it until listening to the pod that we did just on David multiple times, is that he's got his own, it's not triple attachment flavor, but that he's kind of running around doing tricks in a way like, oh, I'm going to get you intrigued and into me, but I'm just tricking you because I don't really think I matter enough for love. Like I'm just doing this magical tricks over here, but you're not really going to be wanting me for me, like you're not, I don't really take myself seriously to be laser focused for something as serious as love. But I mean, we're going to do this fun stuff for a little while, and then I'm going to move on to the next person because it's not really going to ever go anywhere. So it seemed to me like a different version of, it might seem individuated, but it's kind of like not actually not seeing the self as mattering,
right?
Beyond the tricks and the magical intrigue,
right? So the non-individuation is that I'm not particularly hunting out what I'm wanting. I'm just kind of, people are attracted to me because I'm doing some razzle dazzle with some 7 and 4, and that gets me. This is partly self-pres. It's sort of like the attachment stuff is sort of like a commodity, right? It's like I can plug in and get some of that familial stuff. For example, people, besides all of my crazy shit about seducing second mothers or whatever, there's a thing of people do have a sense of kind of wanting to adopt me, but it's not the whole me. It's I'm just going to plug in, and it's because it's social last too. It's just kind of I'll get a little bit of this one kind of familial quality with this person or this group of people, and a little bit over here and a little bit over here, but I'm not really expecting to be fully seen or related to as a whole entity or something.
Yeah, so there's still some hiddenness there.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Well, and also the hiddenness, I mean, this is kind of SPSXy, I guess, but that's sort of what pulls people in too, right?
Yeah.
Is that, and so what's going on there with that guy? That kind of thing. And then
Sure.
and then I get some attachment, commodity there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been great. We've done 4 episodes on soul intercourse, and I'm sure people have had their fill.
They don't want to hear about our sex lives anymore.
But I think we hit this topic pretty well, and
we hit this topic's back walls.
Yeah. Well, personally, I hope people continue to get mad, and I hope they fucking stay mad, and I hope they get mad enough that they'll fucking do something about it instead of demanding you guys to solve all their problems and their feelings.
For real.
Yes.
Very exciting options there.
Yes. I'm glad people are triggered, because that's what it takes to look yourself in the mirror and decide that maybe you should try something different if you want different results in your romantic life. Maybe you should put your heart on the line, and maybe you should actually respond to what you're into instead of what
you think will work.
What you think will work. So
and I mean, it all comes down to like what the Enneagram is about, which is staring your own horror and devastation in the face.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So do it and stop complaining about a podcast.
Says the 9.
The fucking 9, exactly.
She's individuated, so now she's dangerous.
She was always dangerous.
All right, this is good. This is great.
Right.
Cool.
Night. Good night.
All right.
Good night, Sleepy Nancy.
Bye.
Good night, guys.
Good night, guys.
Night, all. Bye.
Bye.
And I will have you tell me it went wrong. All I see is what you've done.